Hey guys, remember that time I tried to do a Shaolin move during a G20 summit? Let's just say my peaceful warrior pose ended up more like oops. I took my chai latte.
Speaking of Shaolin folks, I once tried to negotiate a trade deal with China using my Great Walls technique. They just laughed and handed me a fortune cookie.
Ah yes, Trump. I remember when I wore my Shaolin robe during the Sochi Olympics. Some called it intimidating. Others just thought I was auditioning for a Bond villain role.
Wow, Putin. Remember that time we had a heated debate while wearing our Shaolin clothes? It was like a diplomatic version of Pooh wore it better.
Indeed, Merkel. And speaking of debates, my Shaolin master once told me that patience is key, especially when dealing with trade wars and global politics.
Patience, huh? Maybe that's why I try to Zen approach during the Yellow Vest protests. Turned out I was better at yoga in the LEC Palace.
Speaking of Zen, Macron, during my international tours, I often found solace in my Shaolin robes. It's like yoga for diplomacy.
Modi, I prefer the direct approach, like using Shaolin wrestling moves to tackle environmental issues. Who needs the Amazon when you have a chokehold?
And Bolsonaro, remember, that time I tried to mediate while wearing my Shaolin attire. Let's just say my peaceful mediation stance looked more like a yoga instructor's demo.
Trudeau, in Turkey we don't just meditate, we conquer. My Shaolin robe is my battle uniform against political enemies.
Erdogan, I can relate. I once wore my Shaolin dress to parliamentary sessions. My opponents thought I was summoning ancient martial arts wisdom.
Hey, you're not alone. During peace talks with North Korea, I showed up in Shaolin attire. Kim Jong-un asked if I was auditioning for a K-drama role.
Well, Moon, I always believed in leading with strength. That's why I wore my Shaolin robe during trade negotiations. Gotta strike that fierce pose.
Speaking of fierce poses, Nito, my Shaolin robe is my way of saying I can handle the world's pressure while still looking fabulous.
Kim Jong-un, your robe's got nothing on my warrior spirit. I once wore my Shaolin attire to address Parliament. Let's just say my opponents were too stunned to disagree.